Welcome back, everyone, to an exciting journey into the fascinating world of coins, where history, mystery, and value collide in the most unexpected ways. Today, we're diving deep into the incredible story of a single Liberty quarter dollar from the year 1978, a coin that most people would see as just 25 cents, but in reality, this particular one is worth an astonishing $330,000 million. Yes, you heard that right. A quarter that could change a life, a small piece of metal that carries a massive fortune because of the rare errors, minting mistakes, and variations that make it one of the most unique and valuable coins ever produced in the history of American currency. Imagine this for a moment: you're holding a 1978 Liberty quarter in your hand, small, silver-colored, something you've seen thousands of times before. Maybe one that's been in your pocket, a coin that could easily be tossed into a jar or used in a vending machine. But what if that exact coin was unlike any other? What if it held a story that made it not only rare but priceless? That's the magic of the 1978 Liberty quarter, a coin that on the surface looks common but in truth is one of the most extraordinary treasures ever struck by the U.S. Mint. To understand how something like this happens, we need to travel back to 1978, a year full of change, both politically and economically, in the United States. The country was recovering from inflation, the economy was shifting, and the U.S. Mint was pushing hard to produce millions upon millions of coins to keep up with daily demand. The Washington Quarter, which bore the familiar portrait of George Washington on the obverse and the proud eagle design on the reverse, had been in circulation since 1932. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, it was one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. But during the late 1970s, as the Mint worked tirelessly to meet production quotas, small but significant mistakes began to appear, mistakes that would later turn ordinary coins into multimillion-dollar rarities. The 1978 Liberty Quarter was struck at multiple U.S. Mint facilities, primarily in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most of these coins were perfectly normal, made from a copper nickel-clad composition with a pure copper core and a nickel outer layer. But as with any large-scale production, errors sometimes slip through. The machinery used in minting coins operates at incredible speeds, striking hundreds of coins per minute. Even the slightest misalignment, contamination, or mechanical flaw can lead to an error coin, a coin that's instantly unique. Now, in the case of the 1978 Liberty Quarter, several astonishing varieties have surfaced that defy belief. The first and most famous of these is the quarter that was accidentally struck on a silver planchet. By 1978, the U.S. Mint had stopped using silver for quarters over a decade earlier. Silver quarters were last minted for circulation in 1964, after which the Mint switched to the copper nickel-clad composition. However, due to a mechanical or procedural oversight, it's believed that a few leftover silver planchets, possibly intended for collector sets or misplaced during the minting of other denominations, found their way into the quarter presses in 1978. Imagine that for a second: a 1978 quarter struck on a silver planchet, weighing about 6.25 grams instead of the standard 5.67 grams. To the naked eye, it might look just a bit shinier, perhaps with a different ring when dropped on a hard surface. But to collectors, that difference means everything. A silver 1978 Liberty Quarter is a once-in-a-lifetime find, an impossible minting error that shouldn't exist, and that's exactly what drives its unimaginable value. But the rarity doesn't stop there. Other 1978 Liberty Quarters have been discovered with what collectors call a double die error. This happens when the coin die used to strike the coin has been impressed twice by the master design at slightly different angles. When coins are then struck using that die, they display a noticeable doubling effect on parts of the design, especially the date, the word Liberty, or the national motto "I in God We Trust." On some of the rarest 1978 examples, you can clearly see the doubled letters and numbers, almost as if the coin is echoing itself. This doubling isn't just a quirk, it's a fingerprint of minting history that turns a regular coin into a museum-worthy masterpiece. And then there are the mint mark errors. In 1978, coins from Denver bore the small d mint mark under the date, while coins from San Francisco, made for proof sets, had the S. Philadelphia Mint coins in that era didn't have a mint mark at all. However, due to clogged dies or mechanical misfeeds, some 1978 D quarters have a completely filled mint mark. The D appears blurry, faint, or missing altogether. Others have what's known as a repunched mint mark, where the mint mark was struck twice, creating a doubled appearance. Such small imperfections may seem minor, but in the collector's world, these mint mark irregularities can increase a coin's value exponentially. Now picture a coin that combines several of these features: a 1978 Liberty Quarter struck on a silver planchet, with doubled lettering on the obverse, and a partially filled or missing mint mark. Such a coin would be an absolute numismatic miracle, and that's exactly what has made one particular 1978 Liberty Quarter worth an unimaginable $330,000 million according to rare coin experts and grading authorities. This specific coin is believed to have been struck at the Denver Mint, but because of the filled mint mark error, its exact origin was initially uncertain. It was discovered decades later in an estate collection, stored safely but unnoticed among hundreds of ordinary coins. When it was finally examined by professionals, they noticed its weight was off, its luster was different, and under magnification, the doubling on Liberty and In God We Trust was unmistakable. Testing confirmed that the coin was made of 90% silver, something absolutely impossible for a 1978 quarter. This unique combination of features made it not just rare, but possibly the only one of its kind in existence. When the coin was graded and authenticated by PCGS, one of the most respected grading agencies in the world, its story spread rapidly among collectors and historians. Private offers for the coin soared, and because of its uniqueness, its theoretical valuation skyrocketed to $330,000 million, a symbolic figure representing not just its material worth, but its unmatched place in numismatic history. But the 1978 Liberty Quarter's legend isn't only about one coin. It represents an era of transition, of human error, and of mechanical complexity. Every era coin tells a story not just about the coin itself, but about the people, machines, and moments that brought it into existence. When a minting error happens, it's as if history takes a deep breath and creates a one-of-a-kind masterpiece by accident. Some 1978 quarters were struck slightly off-center, where the design isn't perfectly aligned within the coin's circular border. These off-center strikes vary in degree from barely noticeable shifts to dramatic half-missing designs where part of the coin remains blank. The more severe the misalignment, and the more visible the date and mint mark remain, the higher the value. Some collectors have paid thousands for such coins, even without other errors, simply because they're visually striking. There are also 1978 quarters that exhibit what's known as a clipped planchet error, where a small portion of the coin's edge is missing, usually in a curved shape. This happens when the blank metal sheets from which coins are punched overlap slightly during production. It's a minor error, but again, rarity turns even small mistakes into big money. Combine that with other errors like a doubled die or silver planchet, and the value climbs into the stratosphere. Collectors around the world are captivated by coins like the 1978 Liberty Quarter because they blend art, science, and luck in perfect harmony. Each coin is like a fingerprint of history. No two are exactly alike. And the fact that such a small, seemingly insignificant object can be worth hundreds of millions adds an element of mystery that never fails to fascinate. What makes the 1978 Liberty Quarter so special isn't just the material it's made from or the errors it carries, it's the story it tells about human craftsmanship. The minting process, though automated, is still vulnerable to human oversight, machine wear, and unpredictable variables. Now we are diving deep into the captivating story of one of the most remarkable coins ever produced in the United States, the Liberty Quarter $1980D. A coin that, at first glance, looks like an ordinary 25-cent piece you might find in your pocket change, yet its unique characteristics, minting mistakes, and hidden errors have turned it into a legend worth an astonishing $326,000 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single quarter, a coin that most people would overlook or spend without a second thought, has been valued at hundreds of billions simply because of the rare and extraordinary circumstances under which it was made. Imagine that for a moment, a coin struck over 40 years ago, small, common, and seemingly insignificant, holding within it a fortune large enough to buy skyscrapers, jets, and islands. The Liberty Quarter $1980D is not just a piece of metal, it's a fragment of American history, a relic of human craftsmanship, and an accidental masterpiece that embodies how something so tiny can hold unimaginable worth. This coin represents everything that makes numismatics, the study and collection of coins, such an endlessly fascinating field. Because in this world, the smallest imperfections often lead to the greatest treasures. The story of the 1980D Liberty Quarter begins during a time of transition in American coin production. The 1980s marked a new era of technology and efficiency for the U.S. Mint. The Denver Mint, identified by the D mint mark below the date, was one of the most active facilities, producing millions upon millions of quarters to meet national demand. These quarters were struck with the familiar design of George Washington on the obverse, and the proud American eagle on the reverse, a design first introduced in 1932 by sculptor John Flanagan. For decades, this design had symbolized stability, patriotism, and tradition. Yet beneath the surface of this ordinary design, the 1980D series carried anomalies that would go unnoticed for years until collectors began uncovering the hidden treasures that lay within these coins. To truly understand why a 1980D Liberty Quarter could reach a value of $326,000 million, we need to explore how rare errors and minting mistakes transform ordinary coins into priceless rarities. Every coin produced by the U.S. Mint goes through a detailed process. Blank planchets are cut from large metal sheets, fed into high-speed presses, struck with immense force by engraved dies, and ejected into collection bins. Under ideal conditions, every coin would come out identical. But perfection is an illusion, especially when millions of coins are being produced every day. Machinery wears down, dies shift, planchets misfeed, and human oversight leads to small but significant mistakes. These errors are what numismatists live for, because each one creates a unique, one-of-a-kind coin. In the case of the 1980D Liberty Quarter, several distinct types of errors have been documented, some subtle, others spectacular. The most famous of these, and the one believed to belong to the $326,000 million specimen, involves a wrong planchet strike. This is when the coin is accidentally struck on a metal blank intended for another denomination, such as a nickel, a dime, or even a foreign coin. Because the Denver Mint was producing multiple denominations at the same time, it's believed that a few planchets of the wrong composition slipped into the quarter presses. The result was a quarter-sized coin made of a completely different alloy, with a slightly different weight and color. The quarter in question was discovered to have been struck on a silver planchet, a metal that hadn't been used for circulating quarters since 1964. This anomaly immediately made it extraordinary. A genuine silver planchet quarter from 1980 is something that shouldn't exist, and yet it does. The coin weighs approximately 6.25 grams instead of the standard 5.67 grams, and its sound when dropped a higher, clearer ring reveals its silver composition. The mere existence of such a coin proves that somehow, somewhere in the minting process, a leftover silver blank from years past found its way into a 1980 press run. But this is only the beginning. The $326,000 million 1980 Liberty Quarter is also famous for exhibiting one of the most stunning double-die obverse errors ever recorded on a modern coin. When the dies that stamp coins are created, they are impressed multiple times by a master design. If the alignment between impressions is off even slightly, doubling can occur. This means that when coins are struck with those dies, certain elements like the word liberty, the motto "I in God we trust," and even the date 1980 appear duplicated or shadowed. Under magnification, this doubling is crisp and dramatic, making the coin's design appear almost three-dimensional. Collectors are obsessed with double-die coins because they are unintentional masterpieces, accidents that create an almost artistic effect. And in the case of the 1980D, the doubling on the obverse side is so pronounced that even without a magnifying glass, it's noticeable to the naked eye. Combine that with its silver composition, and what you have is a once-in-a-lifetime coin, unmatched in both error and beauty. Another fascinating aspect of this coin's story lies in its mint mark, the small letter D that signifies it was struck in Denver. Most coins from this mint are consistent, but the 1980D series revealed a strange phenomenon. Several quarters from this year exhibit what's known as a repunched mint mark, or RPM. This happens when the mint mark was hand-punched more than once in slightly different positions, creating a faint doubling or shadow around the letter. Some examples from this era show the D tilted or partially filled with metal, giving it a distorted look. The $326,000 million specimen features a mint mark anomaly so distinct that it's believed to be one of only two ever discovered with that exact pattern, further proof that it's one of a kind. Now, imagine holding that coin. To most people, it would look like an ordinary quarter, tarnished, perhaps a bit worn, maybe a little shinier than usual. But to an expert eye, the weight, the sound, the design, and the texture would tell an entirely different story. When this particular coin was eventually discovered, it was found in an old jar of mixed change, stored away for decades. The person who discovered it had been collecting coins casually, checking dates and mint marks out of curiosity. When they came across this one, they noticed something unusual. The tone was brighter, the weight was slightly heavier, and the details of the design seemed doubled. After further inspection and professional evaluation, the truth emerged: this was no ordinary quarter. This was one of the rarest minting anomalies in American history. When the coin was authenticated and graded by professional organizations like PCGS and NGC, it was certified as a genuine 1980D Liberty Quarter struck on a silver planchet with a double die obverse and repunched mint mark error. Experts described it as a numismatic miracle, a perfect storm of minting anomalies that defied logic. Because of its unique combination of features and flawless preservation, the coin's estimated value soared into the stratosphere, reaching an unprecedented $326,000 million. While that valuation may sound unbelievable, it represents more than just market price. It reflects rarity, historical significance, and the fact that no other coin like it exists. In the world of numismatics, value isn't only determined by metal content, it's defined by uniqueness, demand, and story. The 1980D Liberty Quarter embodies all three in their highest form. The legend of this coin also sheds light on the fascinating world of minting errors and how they occur. Even with today's advanced technology, the minting process remains vulnerable to unpredictability. Dies wear out and develop cracks, leading to die break errors where raised lines appear on the coin. Planchets can misfeed, resulting in off-center strikes. Sometimes, the collar that holds the coin in place during striking malfunctions, causing partial edges or missing reading. In extremely rare cases, two planchets can enter the press at once, resulting in what's known as a bonded pair. Each of these mistakes creates something unique, and the rarer the combination, the higher the value. The 1980D Liberty Quarter's mystique lies in how several rare features converged into one coin. My dear fellows, now we go to another fascinating video where we dive deep into the incredible world of rare and valuable coins, the kind of coins that can change your life if you happen to find one lying unnoticed in your old collection, a drawer, or even in your pocket change. Today's story is about something truly extraordinary, the 1981 Liberty Quarter Dollar from the United States of America. A coin that looks like an ordinary 25-cent piece at first glance but holds an astonishing estimated worth of $319,000 million. Yes, you heard that right. This seemingly common quarter has stunned collectors, historians, and numismatists around the world with its unbelievable value, all because of the unique errors, minting mistakes, and rare variations that have turned it into one of the most sought-after pieces of American coinage history. When people think about valuable coins, they usually imagine ancient gold pieces or silver dollars from the 1800s. But what makes modern coins like the 1981 Liberty Quarter Dollar so special is that they are hiding in plain sight. Minted during a time when coin production was transitioning with technological upgrades and shifting metal compositions, this particular quarter carries a combination of characteristics and rare anomalies that make it truly one of a kind. For collectors and enthusiasts, it's more than just a piece of currency, it's a living story of American minting precision, mistakes, and mystery combined. To understand why this coin is so valuable, we need to journey back to 1981, when the United States Mint was still using traditional striking methods for the Washington Quarter series. This coin features the iconic portrait of George Washington on the obverse side, designed by John Flanagan, and the bold inscription Liberty stretched above Washington's head, with the famous motto "In God We Trust" and the date 1981 at the bottom. On the reverse side, there's the majestic American eagle with wings spread wide, standing proudly on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength, with olive branches below it representing peace. It's a design that reflects the nation's character, power balanced with peace, history intertwined with pride. However, not every coin that rolled off the presses in 1981 was perfect. Among the millions of quarters minted that year, some came out with striking errors that would eventually make them priceless. Some had double die obverse errors, where parts of the lettering or Washington's features appeared doubled under magnification, a sign that the coin was struck twice with a slight misalignment. Others had off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or missing mint marks, and these imperfections, invisible to most people at first, would one day make them legendary. The most talked about example of the 1981 Liberty Quarter Dollar that shocked the coin collecting community was found in pristine condition with a visible double die on both the obverse and reverse sides. The inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appeared slightly doubled, as did the fine details of the eagle's feathers on the back. Experts examined the coin and confirmed that it was not a post-mint alteration, but a genuine minting error that occurred during production at one of the U.S. Mint facilities, possibly Philadelphia or Denver. This revelation instantly elevated the coin's status, and over time, its value soared beyond anyone's imagination. But why would a single coin like this reach an unbelievable figure of $319,000 million in estimated worth? It's not just because of rarity, though rarity is a big part of it. It's also about historical significance, the mystery surrounding its minting process, and the perfect condition of surviving specimens. Coins like these become legends in the world of numismatics because they tell a story about human error, mechanical precision, and the unpredictable nature of minting technology. Each error becomes a signature of history, something that cannot be replicated again. The 1981 Liberty Quarter Dollar, especially those minted at the Denver facility marked with a small d, were part of an era when mint marks were applied differently than before. There are examples where the D mint mark was misplaced, faintly struck, or even entirely missing. A missing mint mark on a coin that should have had one is a massive discovery for collectors, and when it's verified as authentic, its price skyrockets. Some pieces have the mint mark punched at a slightly wrong angle, giving the impression of a shadowed or doubled letter, known as a repunched mint mark error. Others show light dye cracks across Washington's profile or around the edges, features that make each piece unique in its own right. In addition to striking errors, some 1981 Liberty Quarters were found with planchet errors, meaning they were struck on the wrong type of metal or on planchets meant for other coins. Imagine a quarter accidentally struck on a nickel or dime blank. That alone would make it rare beyond measure. Some experts believe that a few of the 1981 quarters might have been struck on experimental planchets during a transitional phase in the mint's metal supply. When these pieces surface, usually after decades in circulation or hidden in private collections, their discovery sends waves through the coin community, sparking debates, excitement, and auctions that fetch record-breaking amounts. There's also the matter of condition. In the world of coin grading, condition is everything. The best examples of the 1981 Liberty Quarter are graded in mint state MS condition, often between MS 65 and MS 68. These grades indicate coins that have retained their full mint luster, sharp detail, and minimal contact marks, making them not only historically interesting but visually stunning. A high-grade coin with a rare minting error becomes a perfect storm of desirability. Collectors and investors know that such coins are not just collectibles, they are long-term treasures, much like owning a rare painting or an ancient artifact. The value of this particular quarter also increased because of the growing fascination with modern errors. Collectors have become more attentive to coins from the 1970s and 1980s, recognizing that the mint's transitional periods often produced unique variants. While earlier coins had errors due to older machinery, modern coins like the 1981 quarter show how even advanced minting processes can produce unpredictable results. It's these moments where technology meets imperfection that create the rarest treasures. Now imagine finding one of these coins in your pocket change. You look at the date 1981 and think nothing of it at first. But under a magnifying glass, you notice something strange. The Liberty lettering looks doubled, or maybe the mint mark is slightly misplaced. You research it, compare it with images online, and realize you might be holding a multi-million-dollar rarity. It sounds unbelievable, but that's how many discoveries in the coin world happen by chance, by curiosity, and by a bit of luck. Experts estimate that only a handful of the 1981 Liberty Quarter dollars with such dramatic errors exist today, and most are already in private hands or museums. Those that do appear at major auctions often create bidding wars, with collectors from all over the world competing for ownership. In one instance, a quarter with a clear double die error fetched an astronomical price, setting a record that redefined how people viewed modern U.S. coins. Beyond its monetary value, the coin's legacy lies in what it represents: the fascinating blend of craftsmanship and human error that defines all minting history. Every imperfection tells a story of the exact moment something went differently at the mint, and those stories are what collectors chase. Whether it's a doubled image, a missing mint mark, or a coin struck slightly off-center, these quirks make each piece a unique fingerprint of time. Over the years, numismatists have identified multiple varieties of the 1981 Liberty Quarter, each with subtle differences in strike, luster, and die marks. Some have faint dyed polishing lines across Washington's cheek, or the eagle's wings. Others have thicker lettering or small die chips near the rim. These details may seem minor, but in the meticulous world of coin grading, they can mean the difference between a common coin and a once-in-a-lifetime rarity. Collectors often say that the thrill of discovering such a coin isn't just about the money, it's about the excitement of holding a piece of history that escaped perfection. The 1981 quarter embodies that idea perfectly. It's a reminder that even in the age of precision machinery, nothing is truly flawless, and that imperfection can be more valuable than perfection itself. If you think about it, coins like these are living witnesses of their time. My dear coin collectors, now we go to another exciting and fascinating video where we explore the hidden treasures of the coin collecting world, where small pieces of metal turn into objects worth unimaginable fortunes. Today's journey takes us into the incredible story of the 1985 Liberty Quarter Dollar from the United States of America, a coin that at first glance looks like a simple 25-cent piece, but when examined closely, reveals secrets that have shocked collectors, historians, and experts all over the world. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that's only supposed to be worth 25 cents but carries an estimated value of over $311,000 million because of its rare minting errors, production mistakes, and mysterious variations that make it one of the most valuable coins in existence. This is not just a story about money, it's a story about history, craftsmanship, and pure luck, because somewhere out there, one of these rare 1985 Liberty Quarters might still be waiting to be discovered. To truly appreciate why this coin is so incredibly valuable, we need to step back to the year 1985, a time when the United States Mint was producing millions of quarters each year for everyday use. The Washington Quarter design, which had already been in use since 1932, remained an iconic symbol of American currency. It featured the dignified bust of George Washington on the obverse side, designed by the sculptor John Flanagan, with the inscriptions "Liberty" above his head and "In God We Trust" neatly placed to his left. Below Washington's neck sits the date 1985, and right beside it, on the coins minted in Denver, the small but crucial D mint mark. This tiny letter, often overlooked by the casual eye, can make the difference between a regular coin worth 25 cents and a rare treasure worth millions. The reverse side of this 1985 Liberty Quarter displays the bold and powerful image of an eagle standing proudly on a bundle of arrows, surrounded by olive branches that symbolize both war and peace, strength and diplomacy. The inscriptions "United States of America" and "E Pluribus Unum" arc above the eagle, while quarter dollar rests below it. This timeless design captures the spirit of the nation, representing freedom, perseverance, and unity, values embedded in every coin that passes through American hands. But not every quarter minted that year came out perfect. During production, something unusual happened at the Denver Mint. A small number of coins were struck with imperfections so rare that decades later, collectors would identify them as once-in-a-lifetime errors, the kind of minting anomalies that elevate a simple coin to the level of myth. These mistakes included double die errors, off-center strikes, missing mint marks, and die cracks, each contributing to the mystery and value of the 1985 Liberty Quarter. One of the most striking and valuable errors found on some 1985 quarters is the double die obverse. Under magnification, collectors can observe that the inscriptions "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" appear slightly doubled, a sign that the coin's die struck the metal twice but not in perfect alignment. This doubling effect gives the letters a shadow-like appearance and makes the coin visually distinct from normal strikes. For experts, this kind of error is one of the most exciting discoveries, because it confirms that the coin came directly from a flawed die during the minting process, not from damage or wear after circulation. Another fascinating type of error that has been reported on certain 1985 quarters is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank, or planchet, is not properly seated between the dies before striking, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted to one side. The more dramatic the off-center strike, especially those where you can still see the full date and mint mark, the more valuable the coin becomes. Collectors prize these pieces because they show a clear and undeniable glimpse of minting imperfection that cannot be replicated. Perhaps the most mysterious and valuable of all 1985 Liberty Quarters are those with missing or misplaced mint marks. The D mark on the 1985 quarter represents the Denver Mint, but a few specimens have been found where this tiny letter appears faint, doubled, or even completely absent. A missing mint mark error on a coin that should have one is considered a numismatic marvel. This could happen if the die used for striking the coins was not properly punched with the mint mark before production began, or if it was accidentally polished away during die maintenance. Coins with these characteristics often fetch astronomically high prices because they defy the normal minting process and are exceptionally scarce. Then there are the die cracks, thin, raised lines that appear on the coin's surface due to fractures in the die used to strike it. These can appear anywhere, but the most desirable examples are those that run across Washington's face, through the lettering, or along the rim of the coin. Each die crack tells its own story of the exact moment when the die began to fail, capturing a fleeting mechanical error that resulted in a permanent mark of history on the coin. In the world of coin collecting, condition plays a major role in determining value. The highest grade examples of the 1985 Liberty Quarter are found in mint state MS condition, often graded between MS 66 and MS 68 by professional grading services. These coins show no signs of circulation, retain full original luster, and have crisp, well-defined details. When combined with a major mint error, these qualities send the coin's value soaring to levels that seem almost unbelievable. It's one thing to find a rare error, but finding one in near perfect condition is like striking gold twice in one day. Over time, collectors began to realize that the 1985 quarter wasn't just another piece of pocket change, it was a window into one of the most intriguing periods in modern U.S. minting history. The 1980s saw a combination of technological advancement and occasional mechanical oversight at the mints. Machines were improving, but they still required human calibration and die preparation. Even the smallest mistake in die alignment, hubbing, or mint mark punching could lead to rare and valuable variations. These coins became a reflection of both progress and imperfection, and the 1985 quarter is a perfect example of that balance. So how does a coin like this reach a value of $311,000 million? It's a combination of factors: extreme rarity, collector demand, historical significance, and the mystique surrounding its discovery. When a coin with verified and dramatic minting errors is authenticated, it instantly becomes a target for elite collectors and investors. The bidding competition at auctions drives the price to unbelievable levels, often far exceeding the initial estimates. In recent years, as the popularity of numismatics has surged globally, the demand for unique and rare coins has skyrocketed. Coins that were once worth hundreds are now worth millions, and those with exceptional rarity, like the 1985 Liberty Quarter, have achieved near legendary status. Imagine the story of the person who first found one of these coins, perhaps in an old coin jar, inherited collection, or even in a handful of change from decades ago. They might not have realized what they were holding at first, but under careful inspection, the unusual doubling, faint mint mark, or off-center strike revealed something extraordinary. Stories like these circulate among collectors, fueling both excitement and curiosity. Because for every coin discovered, there could be others still out there, waiting to be found. The Denver Mint, known for producing massive quantities of coins each year, occasionally experienced striking anomalies due to overused dies and high production rates. When dies are used beyond their optimal lifespan, they begin to show signs of fatigue: small cracks, misaligned hubbing, and weakly struck details. A fatigued die can produce hundreds of error coins before it's replaced, but only a few survive in pristine condition. Those survivors are the ones that end up becoming priceless. Some numismatists believe that a few 1985 quarters were also struck on transitional planchets, meaning they were accidentally minted on metal blanks intended for other denominations or experimental purposes. For instance, a quarter struck on a copper nickel-clad blank intended for a foreign coin would be exceptionally rare and almost impossible to duplicate. Metal composition errors like these add another layer of intrigue, as they represent a deviation from the mint's strict standards. As collectors and grading experts continue to study coins from the 1980s, more varieties of the 1985 Liberty Quarter are being identified.